You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Well, good afternoon to you and welcome into Fox 35 News Plus. I'm Garrett Wymer, and thanks for joining us on this Monday afternoon live on Fox Local and on YouTube. I want to let you know we are standing by for the start of a news conference in Indian River County where the sheriff's office, they're going to talk more about a rescue where they pulled 3 people from the Atlantic Ocean after a small plane crash last night. This was a single-engine plane that had crashed in the Atlantic Ocean off Vero Beach. We know several agencies helped with that rescue. The NTSB, the FAA are investigating. We will get you inside that news conference here in just a little bit. But we begin today with our top 4 at 4, where we break down 4 of the big stories that we are tracking in the Fox 35 newsroom this afternoon. And joining us live now for our top 4 at 4 this afternoon, Fox 35 News anchor John Brown. John, good to see you.
Good to see you, too. Got a lot of interesting stories in the news today. So let's start with this one. Excuse me, the latest in that terror attack in Boulder, Colorado. The man accused of throwing Molotov cocktails into a crowd of people in Boulder says he did it specifically because he targeted what he described as a Zionist group in the streets. The group had gathered to bring attention to Israeli hostages in Gaza. 45-year-old Mohammed Sabri Solomon says he planned the attack for more than a year as well. Witnesses say that he yelled "Free Palestine" and then used a makeshift flamethrower and incendiary devices. 8 people were injured in the attack, some with burns. Now, the group was actually concluding their weekly demonstration when the attack happened. FBI affidavit says that he confessed to the attack after he was taken into custody and told police that he would do it all over again as well.
Facing a number of charges now, including a federal hate crime charge as well. I'll give you a live look right now outside the Boulder County Jail in Colorado, where he's being held, I believe, $10 million bond. Very serious charges here, obviously, and something that's been getting a lot of reaction from folks as well, including here in Florida. I want to play for you a soundbite from Governor Ron DeSantis, who was asked about this at his news conference earlier today in Sarasota. Then you're going to hear from Congressman Randy Fine, who was on Good Day Orlando this morning.
Where, and you saw it starting on October 7th, you saw what's happened at our universities, you've seen attacks against Jews, you saw the 2 Israelis in D.C., you see this Colorado. This is really sick, but we've got to take this seriously, and you shouldn't be allowing this, having policies that allow this to foment.
I'm angry. I mean, what happened is the Muslim terrorists doubled down on the propaganda after the DC attack. And it is no coincidence that when people are out there lying about things in the Middle East, that nuts are going to do these kinds of things. Look, Jews were burned 80 years ago. For it to happen in our own country 80 years later by an illegal immigrant Muslim terrorist, it's enraging.
And obviously the concern is that we have been seeing more and more situations like this.
Yeah, whenever you see the groups that they always target, it's always amazing how many groups are still active, because you don't think about it day in, day out, but those guys who research it do. Yeah. So again, court appearance coming up around 5 o'clock today. All right, also 2 men arrested on Friday in Polk County after deputies discovered some dogs in their house in deplorable conditions. Polk County deputies responded to the home on Colorado Avenue in Lakeland to follow up on a possible report of animal neglect, and this is what they found inside. When they arrived, nobody home, but they went inside because there was a distinct odor coming from the home, and there were dogs in there. Once inside, they discovered unimaginable living conditions. The home had no power, no windows open for air circulation, temperature inside 107 degrees Fahrenheit. The bedrooms were filled from floor to ceiling with trash. The home was also covered inside with feces and urine. No food, no drinkable water. Dogs had a body temp of 105 in some cases. Now, this shows how bad it stank. Their ammonia levels in the home were registered at 25 parts per million. That's hazardous because the standard is 0. So you had to know that this thing was smelling all over. So 2 men now arrested here, 29-year-old Alan Alderman, 65-year-old Thornton Arnold. They both came back while police were in there. There they are right there. They said that some of the dogs were theirs. Others were one of their girlfriends who was gone or was in jail at the time. But deputies said, that's okay. You're both going to jail, both facing charges now.
Gosh, seeing those images from inside the home, it's eye-opening.
Okay, and the smell. I mean, even if it's not open, that's amazing there. This is the story that's got our attention in the newsroom today. Okay, I've seen alligators everywhere, but not on the interstate.
Not on the interstate.
Okay. And this is a horrible situation because these are motorcycle riders going down I-4 around Orange City, and there's the alligator. Middle of the road right there. Both motorcyclists, 67-year-old man, 25-year-old woman, they were back-to-back on motorcycles in 2 different cycles there. They were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, and that thing's just laying out there in the middle of the interstate. Now, Fox 35, we spoke with them. They said they were with a large group of riders on the interstate. They came across what they called a big blob in the road. They thought it was a tractor-trailer tire or something like that. The blob turned out to be a very large alligator. One of the guys hit the thing and then went flying into a tree and crashed there.
Crazy.
But I mean, you're just, oh my gosh, it's just amazing. Especially for the bike rider right there. Didn't seem to even didn't look down. Had no idea it was there in the middle of the road.
Well, there's stuff in the road all the time.
Yeah,
right. Even in Florida, a gator is not the first, second, third, fourth, or fifth thing that I'm thinking that could be.
And there's the rider right there laid out. Oh my gosh, that is crazy. Yeah, and so first when I heard this, I'm like, alligator. So, but you can see that's that part of I-4 there where there's kind of swampy area on each side, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. That would be an area where they would cross, but I've just never heard it or seen it in that part of the.
You certainly don't expect it.
Yeah.
And one of the motorcyclists we did speak with over the weekend, saying they were thankful just to survive. Here's what she said.
The way I landed, I must have an angel looking over me or something, because I just got very lucky. It could have been a lot worse. I was actually a Gators fan before this, and I was telling my mom, because my family's always been divided, I said I might end up going Knowles. I don't really care for Gators too much now.
Not a big Gator fan anymore after that.
Right. And it's funny because we do these stories. We do stories often and stuff like this. And you'll hear from people up north, and they're like, what is going on down there? We don't even think about them that weird anymore, but this one's unusual. This one's really outside the norm there. Okay, and here we go. Local story. Kansas City Royals called up the slugger, Jac Caglianone, one of the top prospects in baseball. He was just drafted last year, 6th pick in the draft, and he's been killing it in Double-A and Triple-A. He's only 22, and he was a big part of their run towards the World Series. He, in Triple-A, Double-A, had 15 home runs, 56 RBI in 50 games. I mean, that's pretty nuts. He's 6'5", 250 at this point. He's bulked up, too. I remember we did an interview with him after they got back, and you could tell he was big, but he was not 250, but 6'5", 250. That's a big dude right there at 22. He, 2A player at the University of Florida. So now he's going to have his first game with the Royals on Tuesday in St. Louis.
Yeah, playing the Cardinals there. Really cool moment.
That's
I love
crazy.
when they post these videos of the players getting the news.
Yeah.
So the Royals posted on X as his major league manager kind of gave him the news that he was getting called up to the show. Take a look.
All right, seriously, how do you feel? Good. You feel a little tired because you've been doing a lot of stuff.
Like, not bad.
I mean, you've been doing outfield stuff, and you've been taking your ground balls,
Russ has
everything.
been marking me, but it's been good.
So you think you feel like you're at the point where you could help, like, them up there? You think you could?
Yeah.
All right, well then you can get on the charter tomorrow night and go with them. If they do it.
Holy crap.
So what do you think?
Oh, that sounds great.
Just remember, it's still a game. It's baseball.
Yeah.
It's a little higher level, but you know you can play.
Yeah. Shoot, player.
All right, give me a hug.
Oh, yeah. I need to call my dad.
What did you think when I started talking to you?
I mean, I was like, damn, it's probably for hitting my knob against the stair. It's like,
I heard that.
I was like, damn.
I heard that.
But, oh, no way.
Go call your dad.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Let the fam know.
Congrats.
I don't think you're going to the zoo tomorrow. Okay.
Thank y'all. Oh, boy. Let's go.
That's pretty cool.
I love that. It
Yeah.
always is cool, and you can see the look on his face when the manager first said something about you think you might be able to help them up there, and you could see him kind of be like seemed a little skeptical at first, and then it was like, okay, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready
You
for
get
that.
called in for a meeting, you think you're in trouble, probably like, oh man, what do they want?
Yeah.
So, and also cool that he's in Omaha, so it's not like he has to travel long ways.
Right.
It's a little Uber ride over to Kansas
Yeah,
City to
pretty
start playing with
convenient.
the team. But 22, can you imagine that? I mean, 22, your dreams are coming true. He already had a great college career. He's from Plant City.
And then played at Florida.
Yeah, so I mean, he's got all these great Florida connections. So Man, I will have to look ahead and see next time they play in Tampa.
Yeah, that'd be really
That'll
cool.
be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll have a lot of
man,
friends and family
really cool.
cheering for him there. Good stuff. John, we appreciate you
All
joining
right,
us for our
sounds good.
top 4 at 4. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back after this.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist TJ Springer joins me now. And TJ, we are here on the, second day of hurricane season, and you're telling me the Hurricane Center already has put out their first blob.
I know. Another area of interest, Garrett. It's hard to believe, though. I still am shocked that we're in hurricane season at all and that it's actually June.
Yeah. The first 5 months have flown by. No doubt about that, yeah.
Yeah, May was a whirlwind. May was a blur, but now we're here, and not only is it hurricane season, but I think that kind of gets overshadowed here in Florida because it feels like summer so much of the year, but meteorological summer began on June 1st as well.
Yeah, but like you said, let's be honest. Summer here started before that.
Yeah, we had too many days of the 90s ahead of that. Thankfully, though, at least this system that we're watching, Garrett, I think it could bring us some heavy rain, but it's thankfully not going to be a big impact to us, really, or the southeast coast for that matter. Only a 10% chance of development, but it's something, of course, the storm team is keeping a close eye on. Nonetheless, we have a stalled frontal boundary, the same front that actually brought us all of that rain Saturday morning, but we also have some upper level energy or some spin in the atmosphere, and that disturbance as well as the stalled front could help that area of low pressure continue to kind of organize and develop. And as it moves away from Florida into the Atlantic off the southeast coast, it may be able to gain some tropical characteristics, but again, only a 10% chance of that happening. But either way, it's looking like some heavy rain, some downpours, some storms possible on Wednesday into the wee hours of our Thursday. There's that boundary. You can see showers and thunderstorms off to our south, have had some severe storms at times here today, and eventually we're going to see some of that moisture lifting up into central Florida. So it looks to be a little more unsettled across our part of Florida, central Florida, through the remainder of our evening, something we'll be watching. But the big story is, of course, hurricane season beginning yesterday, and some of the notable aspects of this year's season are the warmer than average ocean temperatures. That doesn't seem to really be a surprise anymore. But what's different this year is that we're actually, over the last couple of years, we've been warmer. We're actually cooler now compared to the last couple of years. So that's an interesting fact. That may lead to a slower start to this year's hurricane season, but we're still above normal as a whole. Now, looking at the climate pattern, we're in what we call ENSO neutral. We're not in a La Nina or an El Nino pattern, but we're kind of right down the middle. But still, that can mean reduced wind shear and can allow these storms to form. There's also the potential for a more active West African monsoon. So these waves coming off of Africa, heading into the main development region, those will need to be watched, because when you're looking at ENSO neutral conditions, sometimes you can go either way. So you're looking at the weather patterns as a whole across this portion of the world to kind of see what we're going to have potentially forming in the tropics. Now, in terms of average, our named storms, 14, 7 of those usually become hurricanes, with 3 becoming Category 3 hurricanes or stronger. NOAA's expecting 13 to 19 named storms, 3 to 5 majors, with Colorado State University putting out their forecast pretty close to NOAA, kind of right down the middle, so to speak. 17 named storms, 9 hurricanes, and 4 major storms. It does look gray. It's gloomy out there locally. That's a live look over the tourist district I drive. Not the prettiest looking Monday, but haven't had too much rain across the area just yet. But I think that's going to change as we progress through the remainder of our Monday. You can see where the clouds are and where the sun is. In Gainesville and Ocala, it's 88, but in Orlando and St. Cloud, we're in the low 80s. It's 82 currently in Melbourne, where the clouds have been around. We've had that cloud debris kind of keeping conditions a little bit cooler, so to speak. Tonight, 60s to 70s. Still watching out for some showers and thunderstorms, especially south of Orlando. That's where we'll likely see some more coverage. And then tomorrow, we start to get that sea breeze going. And with that east to southeasterly breeze, we're going to have the chance for more showers and thunderstorms later on in the day, with highs topping out close to average for this time of the year. Here's our Fox model. So as we go through time, you're going to see the rain chances going up. Through the remainder of our Tuesday evening into the overnight, though, that's when we start to really watch that disturbance that's going to bring us more widespread showers and thunderstorms on Wednesday, the same one that could potentially maybe become a depression. Here's Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. A few showers or storms are possible, but throughout the day, we start to see more coverage on our Fox model through lunchtime into the evening. You can see it's almost a washout. I don't know if it'll be raining at all times throughout our hump day, but certainly downpours and some rumbles of thunder and kind of a nasty middle part of our week. But it looks like we'll see some improving conditions as we head into our day on Thursday, but we still may have some lingering showers or thunderstorms early before we start to see that sea breeze trying to bring us some more showers and thunderstorms later on in the day. So certainly active. Looking into about mid-month, of course, we are now getting into the rainy season, but it's looking like we have a good chance of staying above normal in the precip category, which is good news for the drought. We're still in that drought. It's going to take a nice amount of rain time and time again to start to alleviate that. Now, in terms of our Fox 35 Storm Team 7-day forecast, you can see the chances for rain higher Wednesday. Thursday, still a chance, especially late. And we still have kind of this typical sort of summertime pattern. The East Coast sea breeze going to help bring us daily chances for showers and thunderstorms. Garrett highs back in the 90s. So just typical summertime weather here across Central Florida.
Yeah, coinciding with that start of meteorological summer yesterday.
It gets me to this day.
It's so hard.
Especially when I'm...
I don't know why I even try.
In the word meteorological.
Right. Well, Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist threw in an extra syllable for you there. Yeah. TJ Springer, we appreciate
I'll take any
you joining
syllable,
us.
every syllable I can get.
All right. Well, we appreciate it, TJ. We're going to take a break here on Fox 35 News Plus, but we'll be right back.
watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. I'm Garrett Wymer, and thanks for joining us on this Monday morning, live on Fox Local and on YouTube. Volusia County deputy caught who they believe to be an alleged stalker in Deltona. Deputies say 20-year-old Jalen Villejos told them that he was on his way to watch his ex-girlfriend sleep. Sheriff Chitwood spoke with reporters earlier today about the situation.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic police work. You know, one of the things we preach and encourage is for night shift to really be on the lookout, especially in residential neighborhoods throughout the county because of all the car breaks that we have. You know, you have underage kids out there. You have people dressed in dark clothing with masks and hoods on when it's 82 degrees outside. And this was a great heads-up stop. And I think the deputy was really thinking car break suspect here. Little did he know, as this guy started answering more and more questions, that this guy was probably going to his ex-girlfriend's house to kill her or kill the father. When you look at the history here of what has progressed, you know, he admits that for 6 to 8 months he's been sneaking over to the house and watching her sleep. You know, on his person he had a ski mask on his head, rubber gloves, lock-picking kit, knife, and his vehicle, which was his father's vehicle, which he drove over here, had a backpack with the duct tape in it and a sledgehammer in it. I mean, that's got all the signs to me that somebody's getting killed. And he admitted so much as so that he was going there and he didn't know what he was going to do when he got there. But he knew he had a sledgehammer he was probably going to use on the front door and use on the father, you know, a knife. This young lady, I don't think she knows that she was being spied upon. I mean, he even brought spray paint so he could spray paint the security cameras so that nobody could see what was going on outside. So this was complete heads-up police work. This is what we ask our deputies to do at nighttime in particular. With all the car breaks, get out there, see what's in the neighborhood, and Deputy Graham did a fantastic job.
Yeah, and as a dad, just to know that this, you know, if your daughter was being watched for 8 months,
right,
and then
right.
you see this guy with all this
how does it feel? Yeah, how do you feel? You know, how does that make the dad feel? But clearly, Deputy Graham's actions last night prevented a homicide, without a doubt, because this guy was out there, and clearly he was psyching himself up, I think. You know, he talks about how he saw the high police presence, and he kind of was taking the long way around to get back to his truck. But his truck was in the other direction that he was walking from. So, you know, like I said, this could have been a tragedy. So I don't know how you feel when she wakes up today to say, oh my God, how close we could have came to being murdered.
And that's just like the textbook stalk. I mean, watching while you're sleeping.
Watching her while she's sleeping.
Like a movie.
Rubber gloves, duct tape, sledgehammer, spray paint to block out the cameras, the lock picking set. You know, and he said in there, well, sometimes the gate's locked, and when I want to get in, I could pick the lock to get in. But so, I mean, he thought this out, but again, he must have not thought out too much because obviously once he got stopped, once he was read his Miranda rights, he just said he went ready to go from there.
Yeah. And there was no paperwork of their previous.
No, there's no reports of it, which just got to make her and her family feel that, hey, I had somebody on my property, you know, and I don't know how good their security cameras are because I would hope they go back. Now, remember, he also vandalized their property back in April. He was a suspect in it. I think it was two vandalism that occurred. Well, now he's being charged with those because he basically admitted that it was him that went to the property and vandalized the property.
And if he's found with all his gear, it's not enough to like charge him with like attempted murder, or like. Well, I mean,
you really can't. They charged him with loitering and prowling and all the stalking. Obviously, he admitted to the aggravated stalking end of it. But you know, you could say you're going to rob a bank, and I can get all the stuff to rob a bank. But until I take that overt step, you can't charge me with bank robbery. If I go to the bank and back away, it's a different story. But what he was going to do or what was in his mind, I think we got him pretty good with the aggravated stalking.
Scary situation there with those allegations, what we hear against that 20-year-old suspect, Jalen Villejos. Also in Volusia County, a couple of other men were arrested after investigators say they broke into businesses all over the state by cutting through their roofs. They're accused of stealing tens of thousands of dollars worth of merchandise, and Sheriff Chitwood talked about that case as well.
What goes through your mind?
He's a career criminal. I mean, obviously, he's on probation for doing the exact same thing. He's been arrested throughout the state of Florida for doing the exact same thing. And rules don't apply or laws don't apply because he comes right back and he does the same thing again. And that's why, people like that need to be locked away. There is no parole. There should be no probation because you let him out, he's going to do it again. Why let him out? Why? Why should some poor business owner suffer from the damage that's done and the financial loss that they have to recover? They have to recover from their proceeds being stolen or their items being stolen because this guy just does not respect the rule of law and will do nothing to conform with society.
How rare the cutting into the roofs and cutting through walls and stuff kind of stuck out to me. How rare is it?
It's rare, and it's normally somebody in particular that does it. It's not just Joe Blow just doesn't go out and steal a concrete saw from Home Depot and then go in and commit a burglary. On the flip side of that, you look at, there was a burglary in Daytona to a jewelry store where they did the same thing. That had all the hallmarks of a professional gang that got in there and did that. Where this guy, you could tell, it was, I want to call it amateur hour because he got caught, but he was good at what he did. He knows how to get in there. He knows what he's looking for. He's just not that rate like the jewelry store folks were. Because Daytona had one, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions, were stolen from there. And like 2 days later, the same thing occurred in California. Same exact way they broke into the store in Daytona is the same exact way they broke into the jewelry store in California. There, I think you would use the term professional. Professional organized crime group that did that. Like this guy, it's as soon as we got that, the first name that floated out of the detective's mouth were this guy's name. Somebody did a little research. Hey, he's out of jail. He's on probation, and we had the same exact thing before, and it was this guy. Why were you going to look? You're going to start right at the first most obvious thing, and the most obvious thing is we arrested this guy 6 months ago or 2 years ago for doing the same thing, and he's out now. Same style.
Well, we're going to take a break here on Fox 35 News Plus, but we will be right back with more after this.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back to Fox 35 News Plus. I'm Garrett Wymer, and thanks for joining us on this Monday afternoon, live on Fox Local and on YouTube. We are following a story out of Flagler County where a man is accused of strangling his dog to death. Fox 35's Stephanie Buffamonte joins us live now via Zoom. And Stephanie, pretty disturbing allegations against this man.
Very disturbing. So what we heard from the sheriff's office is that they were called out to the house and they had found out from the guy himself, he admitted to strangling and choking his dog to death. And what he had told deputies what happened was he said that one of his dogs named Nutmeg, it was an American Bulldog and Golden Retriever mix, had bitten his Chihuahua. And he said that he was upset that the dog was attacking his little dog, and then he brought the dog into another part of the house and choked the dog and killed the dog. Now, we ended up speaking with his wife today, who said that's not exactly what happened. She was actually there that night. She said that the dog, Nutmeg, lunged at the Chihuahua, and her husband had freaked out, tried to separate them, knocked the little dog on the ground, hitting its head. But she said when she brought the little dog to the vet, there was no puncture marks and nothing that said that the dog had bit him. So she said that, her husband just had this moment of anger, and then ultimately killed her dog with his bare hands. And I think you see on your screen there, those are the photos that we saw today when we went to her house, and that's Nutmeg there, and those are a little memorial that she put together.
Is she angry, sad? Is she defending him? What?
No, she's filing for divorce. She wants nothing to do with him. She kicked him out of the house, and she is shocked that her husband could do that, because she said he loves animals and he loved their dogs. So she couldn't believe that he could take the dog's life like that.
So he is now, now this happened a while back, correct? But he was just now arrested last week.
Yeah, and we spoke with the sheriff today and asked him what was the delay there, and he said it's just the process. So they found out what happened, then they have to give it to the state attorney's office, who will then, come up with the charges. But it did happen in the end of January, and he was just arrested, as you could see, last week. So it's been a few months.
And he is charged with aggravated animal cruelty.
Yeah.
What is the status of this case now? Has he appeared in court yet?
Right now he is bonded out of jail, but they're still going through all of this. And part of the reason why his wife wanted to speak with us today is that she said that, she wants to bring justice to her dog that was killed in such a tragic way.
Yeah, certainly a tragedy. Can't blame her for being upset. Heartbreaking to see those photos of that adorable little pup. Fox 35 Stephanie Buffamonte, we appreciate you joining us here on Fox 35 News Plus.
Thank you, Garrett.
And we now want to go to a story out of Volusia County, where there are concerns over kids riding e-bikes dangerously. Those e-bikes are growing in popularity. See them more and more often, it seems like. Fox 35's Marie Ettinger joins us live now via Zoom. And Marie, what is the concern specifically there in Volusia County?
So the concern here isn't unique to this area. It's an issue that a council member for Edgewater told me today is statewide, if not nationwide. It's just that they go real fast and you can ride them without a license. You can be a kid on these things, and they get up to, in the state of Florida, they're limited to 28 miles an hour for what they're supposed to be doing legally. There are many sold that go above that, and they can ride wherever bikes do. So I looked at these studies through the National Library of Medicine. There are a bunch of them just kind of tracking what the average biker speed, like a non-motorized bike, and they go some of them said around 9 miles an hour on average, some of them said 12. So 28 miles an hour in the same place that some people might be going 12 miles an hour. Some people might be walking on a sidewalk, pushing their children along. That's the concern. They go really fast. There aren't limitations over who can drive them. They aren't necessarily tracked in that you don't need a license, you don't need registration. So the argument is these are vehicles. They shouldn't be on sidewalks like bikes are. But then a lot of people said, I don't think they should be on the roads either because they don't require a license or registration, and we don't necessarily want like 12-year-olds on the actual road. So that obviously leads to a bit of a conundrum over where they should be ridden, if not sidewalks and if not streets. Some people said they should just be treated like recreational vehicles. And then plenty of other people are saying like, hey, let kids be kids. They're having fun on these things. Who cares? So that's the discussion here.
And we should note that it's not just kids that you see riding these things as well. I have been just about nearly run over on the sidewalk while I'm running by many an adult on one of those e-bikes.
Yeah, and yes, that's a good point. A lot of people take them to work. It's just like the rise in e-scooters that we've seen in the past few years. I mean, they're really, really efficient. They go fast. So if you're a person who wants to bike to work, that could be a great option. You can get there real quick. I did reach out to the Volusia County Sheriff's Office just because this happened to the story that we're talking about today happened to be in Volusia County. They said that they don't actively track complaints about e-bikes. Like if somebody walks up to a deputy and complains like, hey, these kids are causing a ruckus, that doesn't necessarily get logged in a way that they can track in their system. So they're not sure whether complaints are on the rise. I also called around to a few hospitals. They said e-bikes are on the rise. And so, accidents involving e-bikes will also be on the rise, but none of them today had any readily accessible data points for me, but it is something that I want to track just as the summer goes along. And there are some places that are trying to crack down on it. So the city of Cocoa Beach, for instance, is thinking about putting more regulations in. Florida statute says that they have their regulations as they stand, but they specifically says that if a city or municipality wants to put in its own stricter regulations, they're totally welcome to. So that's what the city of Cocoa Beach is thinking about. The reason we're in Edgewater today is just because there happened to be a few people complaining about kids riding these e-bikes around in a park. So we've been at that park today. I haven't seen any e-bikes, lots of bikers though. And you know what's hilarious is I just saw one right now. That's the first one all day. I've been here for like 4 hours. Oh, I wish you'd seen it. And boy, she zipped by. So it's just a thing to talk about. And the city council member here in Edgewater said that he's the District 4 city council member. He says he does want to talk about it just to see if it's something that people would want to limit or have a little bit stricter regulations on.
And you got to think that's a conversation that we're probably going to see in more and more places as this continues to increase in prevalence.
I think so. Oh, one little teeny last thing. I also talked to this woman today who bikes around a lot. She says she has been hit 7 times on her bike. So it's not just the bikers who are, like maybe zipping around. Cars also do not always look both ways, and pedestrians might not always look both ways. So it's dangerous for the bikers too.
Yeah, good point. Fox 35's Marie Ettinger, we appreciate you joining us this afternoon on Fox 35 News Plus.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, good luck finding more of those e-bikes out there.
Thank you.
We're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. This is a live look in Boulder, Colorado, where officials from the Boulder District Attorney's Office, the Boulder Police Department, the acting U.S. Attorney as well, holding a joint news conference right now, talking about the state and federal charges against Mohammed Sabri Soliman, the suspect charged in connection with that attack on the pro-Israel group in Boulder yesterday. The U.S. attorney, who you see over the district attorney speaking right now, the U.S. attorney spoke just a minute ago. You see him over his shoulder. He was saying that the suspect said, given the chance, he would do it again. Let's go ahead and listen in as the district attorney now speaks live right now in Boulder, Colorado.
The police department and their law enforcement responders, as well as the first responders who provided medical aid to the victims. But that rapid response with the recovery of the 16 unused Molotov cocktails, I think, speaks for itself. Our office and the U.S. Attorney's Office will be working closely together and in coordination with one another to ensure that the defendant is held fully accountable. As you heard from the U.S. Attorney, the U.S. Attorney's Office will be prosecuting the hate crime against the defendant. Our office will be prosecuting the attempted murder charges and related charges at the state level. This approach will accurately reflect the actions the defendant is alleged to have taken and the harms that he caused. It will allow us to secure a verdict, an outcome, a sentence, whereby he'll be held fully accountable. It's been done, and by it I mean federal and state prosecutions jointly, has been done in other cases, most recently the Club Q mass shooting down in Colorado Springs. At the time the arrest affidavit and warrant were filed with the state court yesterday, there were 8 victims identified, and I'll touch briefly now on the charges that were filed at the state level, as well as the possible sentences he faces if convicted on those charges. So there were 16 counts of attempted murder in the first degree. 8 of those counts are for attempted murder with intent and after deliberation. The other 8 counts are attempted murder with extreme indifference. So 16 counts total. If the defendant's convicted and those counts are running consecutive to one another, he would face a maximum of 384 years in state prison. He's also charged with 2 counts of use of an incendiary device. If convicted of those charges and they run consecutive, he would face a maximum sentence of 48 years. He's also charged with 16 other counts of attempted use of an incendiary device. And again, if convicted and if they run consecutive, the maximum on those counts would be 192 years. So 384 years on the attempted murder, 48 on the use of the Molotov cocktails, and then the attempted use would be 192 years. The judge set a $10 million cash-only bond on the state charges. As you are aware, he's going to be going before the judge this afternoon at the jail. I believe that is scheduled for 3:30, but I rely on the sheriff's office to communicate with members of the media of the exact time. Thanks to the investigation by federal, state, and local partners, and I just want to highlight for you, this is a horrific attack. But as district attorney, when I walk into this building and I see the FBI, Boulder PD, and all the law enforcement partners working, it's the exact response I hope to see. The teamwork they demonstrate, the work they put into it. If you were downstairs right now, you'd see incredible law enforcement officers and investigators working calmly, professionally, and tirelessly to ensure we get all the information we need to get the right outcome in the criminal cases that the U.S. Attorney's Office and my office will prosecute. Through their work, we've now identified 4 additional victims, so there's now a total of 12 victims. And as you'll hear from the FBI special agent in charge, we're going to continue to encourage victims and witnesses to come forward and contact law enforcement. But we now have 12 victims, and on the later this week, we'll be filing formal charges against him. That's our normal process. So the filing of formal charges by the district attorney's office will reflect 12 victims, and if more come forward, additional victims as well. On my final note, what I want to stress is this community has experienced too many tragedies: fires, floods, and mass attacks. But each time I've seen this great community respond with strength, resilience, and support for one another. I trust and hope that that will happen again now. That for the many members of the community who've come forward before to help one another, to support one another, comfort one another, that will happen again today and in the weeks, months going forward. That once again our community will rally to restore peace and to bring support and comfort one another during this dark hour. As your district attorney, I want to remind the members of the media and the community that the defendant's innocent unless and until proven guilty, and the charges are merely allegations. I'm going to turn it over to the special agent in charge of the FBI.
As the Boulder district attorney talking about the investigation against the suspect in that attack in Boulder, Colorado yesterday. 12 victims now. They said 4 more have come forward. They said they found 16 unused Molotov cocktails that were not used in that. And the suspect in this faces up to 600 roughly years in prison if convicted on all these counts and if those sentences are run consecutively. We're going to take a break here on Fox 35 News Plus, but we'll be right back.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. I'm Garrett Wymer, and thanks for joining us on this Monday afternoon, live on Fox Local and on YouTube. Just moments ago, officials in Indian River County gave an update on this rescue of 3 people pulled from the Atlantic Ocean after a small plane crashed last night. I want to play for you that news conference from just moments ago. After that crash last night, you're going to see some of the video that shows how they were able to pull these 3 people from the water. Fascinating stuff. Take a listen.
This started last night around 8:30 p.m. with a Mayday call to the Vero Beach. We also had a gentleman, Mr. Rose, who was at Sexton Plaza, who called the Vero Beach Police Department. He saw the plane go down. All of what you just saw occurred about 3 to 4 miles off the coast of Indian River County, off the coast of Vero Beach, just out there off of South Beach. And it was a group effort. You saw in that video, the fire department, they're not here today. They did a great job. They brought their boat out. FWC, Coast Guard Air Marine Unit was on the ground as well. Our team all worked together. As a matter of fact, as a result of this, air traffic was actually stopped. So regular planes that were coming through the area were paused while the Coast Guard came up from Miami with their air assets. They took about an hour to get here. Our team was on scene in a relatively short amount of time, and this is just an incredibly heroic event that our team was able to work with these other agencies and pull together and save these 3 folks who otherwise would probably be dead out there today if it weren't for their efforts. So I'm just incredibly proud of all the agencies, all the people that were on scene, and all of our teams for pulling together the way that they did to save these people and just make sure that they made it out alive. With that, we'll take some of your questions. Nick?
Did the flight take off from the Vero Beach Regional Airport?
Do we have the origins of the flight? I don't think we know that.
It was Palm Coast.
Palm Coast. They were on a flight plan to come into Vero, so they did call Mayday to the Vero, and they did have a planned flight path to Indian River County, to the Vero Beach Airport. So, but we believe it was Palm Coast they left out of.
Okay. And for the pilots, can you talk about the dark conditions and how that played a role in?
Yeah, so obviously we know it's very dark out there. We operate under night vision goggles. However, even though we have night vision goggles, we're still very limited on visibility. So for us to be able to go that far offshore, it's just unsafe for us. So it was definitely a challenge, safety-wise, because our goal was obviously to try and find these people in the water, but also maintain safety on our end as well. So it was a bit of a challenge, but we do have that FLIR system, which helped out tremendously.
Okay. And do you know how long they were swimming for? I heard it was an hour.
If I would estimate approximately 45 minutes to 1 hour before we were able to make contact with them. Yes.
Okay. And do they have minor injuries or?
That I don't know about.
Yeah, I believe the pilot was the one who was in worse shape. He was the third person that was rescued when the Coast Guard team, when they got on scene, Customs, Border Patrol, the Air Marine unit, they were telling them, you know, they were pointing to the third person, and he was in the worst shape, and so they wanted to go over and get the pilot and get him saved as well. So definitely heroic. As Deputy Zada said, you know, that's a challenge for us. We don't normally fly out 3 miles out off of the ocean. You know, our helicopters are not brand new. You know, on occasion we have to set them down for maintenance issues, and so they definitely put their own lives at risk last night to save these 3 folks out there. All over a Mayday call, all we had was Mr. Rose, who said, "I saw it in this area." They had coordinates of where the Mayday call came in from. You're looking for a needle in a haystack out there in the middle of the ocean, and these guys go out and call it out and say, here's where they're at. The boat comes in, saves them. Just an incredible story, and I can't wait for you guys to hopefully get a day to talk to those pilots who were the people who were actually in the plane to tell your story, because on our side it's phenomenal, and I hope you get that one day. Question?
Were they just treading water the entire time?
Yeah, they were out there just holding on. They didn't have much other than hope that somebody was going to come get them. And fortunately, that Mayday call made the big difference. They did get the coordinates, and that made a difference for us. I mean, they were out, our pilots were looking for debris. They were looking for remnants of an aircraft. There was no debris out there. There were 3 heads bobbing in the water. That's it.
Do you know if they were family members or friends?
Do you know the relationship at all? Did you guys get any of that? No, we didn't get any of that information. We were taking care of them. We got them out and healthy and taken care of. That was our main concern, getting them back to shore. I'm sure that the fire partners who checked them out got all that information. It's something that we're still working through. It took us today to get this video processed for you guys just to be able to tell the story. So we wanted to get this story out. And I'll tell you this, you know, our folks transitioned from this last night. And in my 22 years, I don't ever remember our team going out and saving a downed plane. It's not something that we regularly train for or talk about. I mean, we talk about ocean rescues, but it's not something that we do regularly. These guys came out and did a phenomenal job and then turned around, and tomorrow we're going to provide a video to you where they went to the mall, and our team went out there and took down 2 South Florida guys who were trying to steal copper out of the AC units off the top of the mall. So these folks are heroes. They're out there doing this every night while the public is sleeping. They're saving people off the ocean. They're stopping bad guys from pillaging our county. And you know, it's just it's a blessing for me to be able to work with such great people, and to see our team come together like this is just amazing.
So the plane was completely submerged by the time you guys got out there?
Yeah, you guys want to talk about it?
Yeah, so our initial arrival on scene was my thoughts was to look for some type of wreckage, and there was nothing but ocean out there. From what I believe is it was completely submerged by the time we were on scene.
Did it get pulled out, or was it still?
I don't know if there are any recovery efforts to get it out, or if they'll even ever find it.
More than likely not. You're talking about 4 miles.
Yeah, more than likely, no.
3 to 4 miles out there, as deep as that's going to be, nobody's going to go out.
Was it your vision goggles is what spotted the people in the water?
Actually, it was our FLIR system in the video that you saw. Our FLIR system is what we use. It's an infrared camera that picks up the heat, and what we saw was their head above the water, and that's what was able to draw my attention, which I initially thought was debris. And then when we zoomed in, we noticed that it was 3 separate heat signatures, and I could identify them as actual people in the water.
And what went through your mind when you saw that?
I was I was happy. I was thankful. Like the sheriff said, we don't do this often. A lot of calls that we go regarding a plane crash, if we go, it's usually not a successful outcome. So for me, it was very rewarding, as well as for my co-pilot. I was just happy that I was able to locate them. I believe that had any more time lapsed, or had we not had a timely response, that they may have never been found.
Can you speak a little bit to, in your position, the difference of spotting somebody that you're looking for on land versus in the water, which is more challenging? Is there much of a difference at all, what you're looking for?
Yeah, so land spotting is a lot easier because a lot of things on land, they retain heat, but they also release heat quicker. When you're looking at a wide body of ocean, it all looks the same, right? So the water's all the same temperature, and so it makes it a lot difficult. The success for finding somebody in the water is a lot less than actually finding somebody on land. So like I said, to me, I say it's a lucky find, but I'm happy that it was a lucky find.
John gets lucky a lot up there. He really does. These guys do an incredible job. This is just another highlight of what we do here at the Sheriff's Office every day.
Absolutely incredible that they were able to find those 3 people, get them to safety, and it sounded like the extent of their injuries, all things considered, not that bad. Again, that plane, we learned, was on its way to Vero Beach from Palm Coast in Flagler County. Still, we don't know who those people were, who the pilot was, or what the situation was. We know the NTSB and the FAA are investigating, but quite the rescue off the coast of Indian River County last night, and then to see that video today. Well, that's going to do it for us here on Fox 35 News Plus. We appreciate you joining us. Going to go ahead and send things out to Studio B for the start of Fox 35 News at 5. You see John and Luann and Marlisa as well getting ready for that newscast, which begins in just seconds right here on Fox Local. So we will hand things off to them, and then we'll be right back here at 11 a.m. with more Fox 35 News Plus tomorrow. So thanks for joining us. Have a great rest of your night.
Fox 35 News starts now with breaking news.
New body cam video shows what led up to a deadly deputy-involved shooting in Orange County. You saw it right there, a woman dressed in all black running at deputies with a knife. Now, deputies responded to that area after someone called 911 saying they were being strangled in an apartment. This happened about a month ago. Thanks for joining us. I'm John Brown.
And I'm Luann Sorrell. Fox 35's Marlisa Goldsmith is joining us live in the Alert Center. So Marlisa, walk us through exactly what happened.
Well, John and Luann, I do want to warn you, the video is very graphic. In this new body-worn camera video, we are getting our first look at what deputies were met with when they responded to that call in an Orlando apartment.
Orange County Sheriff's Office inside, make yourself known, do it now.
Wants to make them feel on the phone, so.